using more data than ever while connecting billions of devices to the internet. So we're closer to the Internet of Things than we've ever been. And it would follow that as the demand grows, we need to address efficiencies in how wireless infrastructure is designed. And that's where LATYS comes in. So there are several technical challenges that the industry is facing, especially as we move to higher frequencies. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the 5G range problem, the fact that 5G signals move in short distances and can't move through certain objects. That is something that LATYS is directly tackling. The other thing is the moving targets problem. So if you think about a driverless future where autonomous vehicles are all over the roads, we would need to be able to target those cars even as they move at high speeds and continuously follow them with a signal. Again, something we are addressing. And the third really important use case is for Industry 4.0. So in automating industry, we already have factories, smart factories with hundreds of devices. Some are, working with metal, and these are very noisy elements. So in those radio hostile environments where you have hundreds of devices, there's a lot of interference and noise going around. And this is something that our technology is able to overcome so that we can imagine a future with a fully automated factory with thousands of devices. And the last two, I'm sure many of you have experienced over the past few months, having issues logging on to calls like this. Obstruction, multipath reading have become par for the course. I'm sure when we were kids and imagined 2020, we didn't think we would still have so many issues with Wi-Fi. And these are some of the issues that we are trying to solve. So let me tell you a little bit about our technology. I think the easiest way to follow is to look at the image on the slide. So we have a router powering our device. So we're a hardware company with that red signal. So it could be a cellular signal or a Wi-Fi signal. And then our device is able to relay that signal to other devices. And what we're able to do that is so interesting is that the kind of performance that we're able to achieve with such a compact device has never been seen. So it's usually a very large device that would be able to achieve the kind of performance results we get. So we say we're compact without compromise. And we actually believe that we could even improve the quality of the signal. The other thing we're able to do is non-reciprocity. So reciprocity is a fundamental law of antenna design. And this is something that we've been able to engineer around and overcome and achieve non-reciprocity. What this basically means is we can reduce interference and noise by 1,000 times. So this is not just an incremental innovation, it's truly disruptive. And the third thing is beam steering. So most antennas are dumb. If you have a router in your home, it's going to be sending a signal in every and any direction. That's how your neighbor can mooch off your Wi-Fi or you on theirs. But what we're able to do is create smart antennas that can locate, target, and track a device. So it can just power my cell phone, it can find my cell phone and just power that instead of emitting the signal everywhere. And I think the diagram on this slide really shows you how it's finding the devices. So that's another game changer. And then the last is being spectrally efficient. So we can transmit and receive on the same frequency at the same time. So that's full duplex operation. And what's so great about that is many of you might have heard about congestion at lower bands, and that's a reason to move, to the higher bands for 5G. But in 20 years, we could be facing the same problem. And so to be able to reuse the same frequency to transmit and receive is truly future-proof. So this slide is mostly for people who might be a bit more technical to give you some of the specs on our device. But for those who are not, this is just to give you an idea of what our device would look like. And if you see the size, it's really small and compact. In the future, when smart homes have truly become a reality with hundreds of devices, you can imagine that in your home. But for now, we're mostly targeting industrial IoT. So this is our company vision. It's really to create, to optimize the wireless experience, really create intuitive experiences for our users, support massive IoT as well as 5G communication, all while reducing hardware footprint and smartly controlling RF exposure. Because our technology can be applied to so many different areas. We truly see ourselves as a platform technology, and we are planning on creating an antenna. So you can imagine this device in your home router, your TV, really any device, and we hope to make this the standard. So I will just end by saying that the future is now, and to truly enjoy the future that we've all been dreaming of, we really have to change our approach to designing technology in general and making it more efficient. And LATYS is part of that story in creating efficient wireless infrastructure. Thank you. I can't hear you, Samantha.
Yes, that was great. Thank you so much, Eyitemi, for sharing your story with us. We're going to move on to Niko, who's also someone that's coming with a background in innovation in a range of projects and also in brands and business strategy. So, Niko, are you able to share us now some of your work? Okay, Niko, are you still there?
Apologies, I had to mute Niko. I'm not sure what's going on. I think he's in like transit.
Let's move over to Stone. Stone, why don't you get started with your presentation? So wonderful to have you with us, and we're looking forward to hearing all about payments now coming from Uganda, where you've obviously got well, across Africa we've got up to 2/3 of the continent unbanked, and we know that with Eversend that you're seeking to find new technologies. So we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Samantha. All right. My name is Stone Atwine, and I'm here to tell you about our company called Eversend. I will just go ahead and go straight into my slides. All right. There we are. Yeah, so what we're doing with Eversend is building a digital banking alternative for the African market. And we like to call this borderless neobank. What we've seen across Africa is that a massive number of people do not have access to banking services or financial services for that matter. We like to say that 66% of the continent is unbanked. It's a massive, massive problem. When you go down deeper, we've figured out a cross-section of a society that has an even bigger problem, which is people who move around the continent, people who leave the continent and operate from around the world. So we're thinking about migrants in and around Africa who are faced with extremely expensive, disconnected and inconvenient financial services. We see that sending money across borders is very, very expensive, costing up to 32% in fees for those transfers across different African countries. We see banks charging their customers up to 15% on the continent in foreign exchange commissions when they use their local currency cards to make online payments or any kinds of payments where they are changing currencies. And we see that only 7% of the people on the continent have access to credit. If you compare this to, let's say, the United States, where about 85% of the population has access to credit, you see that we have a really, really, really long way to go. So our mission is to become the leading neobank for African migrants in Africa, in Europe, and also in North America. We think that banks will not be able to support these people because they cannot efficiently solve a problem like this. They have high costs, they move really slowly, and this is something that has to be solved by a technology company. And we also see massive companies on the continent that are doing really, really good things in financial services, like mobile network operators, MTN, Airtel, M-Pesa in Kenya. what we see is that they like to do business in their countries of operation. So let's say if M-Pesa operates in Kenya, they operate in Kenya with the Kenya shilling. They don't really do a lot of cross-border business. And we actually take that opportunity to kind of sit in the middle and connect those different mobile network operators. So that's why we like the cross-border business. And of course, traditional money transfer companies have very high and entrenched costs. So we don't think that they will be able to solve this problem. So we come in with Eversend. Our product is a digital-only banking alternative. We provide instant cross-border money transfers. Right now, we're operating in Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria. We are operating in Rwanda as well, and very soon going to Tanzania. We do have multi-currency wallets. So within Eversend, you can hold all the different currencies of all those countries I've mentioned, including US dollars, and then we'll be adding euro and British pounds very, very soon. We provide virtual dollar debit cards that help save up to 13% in foreign exchange fees. We will be providing access to credit, donations, and investments. For example, providing people with access to stock investments from the US and from Europe. And we do add up all the different players in the ecosystem. So we connect to banks, we connect to mobile money, and we make life very easy for our customers. So to continue, like I mentioned, we are live in Nigeria, in Uganda, in Kenya, coming very soon. We are looking at some of the countries that you see in green, and this will be targeting African diaspora from around the world, so that you can make that connection where you can sit in Paris and pay your mom's electricity bill, where you can sit in the US and pay tuition instead of sending this money to a student who's probably going to pass by the pub and spend some of it. So why are we excited about the continent? We see a massive problem with people being unbanked and underbanked. We see that there's serious smartphone adoption that is skyrocketing. Population is going to double in 30 years. This is an amazing market with the youngest population in the world that likes to take up technology. We see internet costs are falling, data costs are falling, and 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa. And contrary to, say, for example, what we see in Europe and the UK in particular, is that in Africa, revenue is actually possible. So we don't do free. We start out by actually charging our customers, and they're very happy. You know, if you're coming from paying 32% to move money, and then now you have to pay 2% with Eversend, it's pretty easy. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for having me, Samantha.
Thank you, Stone. It's been our pleasure having you, and thank you so much for sharing the story of Eversend with us. We'll now turn to Niko. Niko, let's see if we can get you back with a better connection this time. I'll hand over to you.
Amazing. Thank you, Samantha. I really hope you can hear me now properly.
Yes, perfectly. Thank you. Please
Amazing.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Let me just quickly share my screen. Second. All right. All right, so we are TRÍ. We are e-mobility experts. And if you're like me in Africa right now, chances are quite high that today you've already ridden a daladala, matatu, depending on where you are, Tanzania or Kenya, a boda or a bajaji. These 3 modes of transports are in fact key to the urban mobility in Africa. Reality is that is the backbone, but it's on very fragile grounds. Matter of fact, 80% of these businesses fail. 70% cannot afford the high upfront cost. 90% of the owners experience theft due to a lack of fleet management capabilities that can be as minor as, you know, having revenue stolen to as major as having your engine and your vehicle stolen. And on a daily basis, 40% of the revenue is eroded by fuel cost. That is the driving cost driver and or the major cost driver, and controlling that one is essential to all of those businesses. So we believe life is better with batteries, and this is why we provide electric engines and vehicles on a battery as a service model. By going direct to consumer, we can lower the upfront cost by 20%. By equipping all of our assets with IoT modules, we can guarantee for full fleet control and actually doubling the revenue. And by killing off the fuel and going for battery service, we can allow for not only full cost control, but actually decreasing the operating cost by 20% on a daily basis. Doing that, we will overall improve the entire system, the entire mobility space, and giving it more stability. Now, when we think about the markets, we are looking at two markets, right? We are looking at the launchpad and we are looking at the growth market. For us, a launchpad is a market with low operational complexity. In our case, that's the outboard engine market at Lake Victoria, and it will help us refine our products, and it would help us develop a bulletproof operational model. Based on our market insights and based on our estimations, the market will have an overall volume of roughly 280 million USD in annual revenues, which is nice. However, that market is capped. Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda all agreed that they will not allow more than 100,000 vessels on the lake. And as of today, we have already reached 70% of that cap. So bottom line, lakes don't grow. Cities, however, do grow. And we look at East Africa's urban mobility market, and we know it has strong underlying trends, and it is expected to realize double-digit growth within the next 5 years. So based on our very conservative estimations, we are talking about a market volume of roughly 3 billion USD in annual revenues, mainly driven by the CAGRs of two-wheelers and three-wheelers, which are crazy. So eventually, we want to become a battery as a service company with all its different verticals, not only mobility, but even more so electricity for private households. And we want to generate 70% of our revenue through recurring revenues. So how do we get there? Well, what we already did the past few months is we successfully deployed our MVP product for engine 6 batteries. We've done over 100 rides with it. We have now a very proven business case. We've conducted over 200 interviews with fishermen, drivers across different countries, Ethiopia, Tanzania. And we are now very sure about their technological requirements as well as their willingness to pay. We have established a legal entity in Tanzania. And more importantly, we have already built our first entry barriers, which is an exclusivity deal with our engine vendor. Now, for the next 6 months, we want to raise 2.5 million USD in equity to hire top-notch local talent to infuse that with our international team, gain relevant market traction, and more importantly, as a third point, develop our own Tier 0 battery design, because that is core to what we are doing. Why do we think we can pull this off? To be honest, we've done it already. We've launched and managed over 50 markets across EMEA and APAC. We have extensive experience in mobility and in emerging markets. Also, we have a scale-ready supply chain with OEMs in battery technology, IoT technology, and light vehicles. And truth be told, we have skin in the game. Kunze, my co-founder, who is also in the call right now, and me, we've both quit our jobs at top-level positions and are right now bootstrapping TRÍ 100%, funding this 100%. So join us on this ride to rethink mobility in East Africa, and even more so to rethink energy in the future.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Niko, for sharing your story as well with us. I mean, I think we've had a really diverse set of presentations this afternoon that's really showed us a lot of innovation in Africa. So thank you very much to Team Meet, to Stone, and to Niko for joining us.